Hi, welcome back to my book channel. My name is Lady Lauren Explorer, and today I have another Teal Swan book I'm going to be talking about, and it's from the Miles High Club, which is a play on words because the last names of the brothers are Miles. But this is the first book, and it's called Stopover. So let's just talk about this. But first, let me address why I'm filming like this. I am super lazy right now, and I'm in my bed, and my camera is over on the other side of the room, and I don't feel like leaving the bed. So that's why I'm filming on my iPhone. So yes, just plain laziness. And I don't have my ring light again because plain laziness. But I digress. We are going to be talking about Emily and Jameson. So Emily she's going from California to New York for an interview. And what's crazy is she gets into like this argument, not even an argument, like the guy was super crazy, but he's drunk and she is like waiting to board the plane, and he decides to like verbally abuse her and then starts kicking her luggage, and he gets arrested, and the airline decides to put her seat into first class because of the inconvenience of the guy who like verbally abused her and like kicked her property. So in first class, she's sitting next to this other guy, and he calls himself Jim. And Jim is going to New York, back to New York because he lives there and all that kind of stuff. So they kind of get like a little bit wasted. She is like letting down her guard, and he's letting down his guard, and they decide they're like flirting a lot, and like, the flirt, like, the Mile High Club flirt, that kind. And she's like, I'm not that kind of girl. But as they're going to New York, there is a super horrible storm. And she says, if we have to stop, I might do some stuff. And he was like, I'm praying that we stop so we can have a night of whatever. So long story short, it stops. They have to do a stopover to Boston, and then they'll be going to New York the following day. So his dream came true. As they're getting off the flight, she's like, hey, I know we said this, but I was kind of tipsy. I'm not that kind of girl. I don't do this. I don't do one night stands. Then 6 hours later, it's them messing around and having a good time. And she wakes up the next day, and they have like a very nice morning together. And he doesn't ask for her number. And that's the end of that magical day. And this starts a year later. And she's working at Miles Media. And on her first day, she walks in and she's meeting one of her bosses, because all the bosses are the brothers. So she's meeting one of her bosses, and it's Jameson. So she walks in, and she realizes who he is, and he realizes who she is. And it's just like a mess. And he gets an attitude, and she's just like, whatever. I have a boyfriend, all that kind of stuff. So basically, this is like their love story together, because it's a one-night stand that turns into lovers. But there's a whole lot of things going on, because we realize that like he has some issues when it comes to love and seeing love. And he has someone in his past that he has to like get over. And then she, on the other hand, at first, she's not even looking for love. she doesn't want that. Well, she does want it, but if he's saying, hey, we can only be one way, then she's okay with it. It's only when he starts putting words in her mouth that she has a problem. So they start off like very combative, and he is very dominant. He wants to know where she at, why, all that kind of stuff. And I do love this part. He tells him that she has a boyfriend, and then he was like, "Oh well, you're gonna break up with him today." And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna break up with him today. Actually, give me your phone, and I'll break up with him for you because you're going to come to my house, and we're going to do some stress relieving activities together." Like, oh yes, okay. You're very confident in yourself. So, there is some drama that goes on because we're finding out that another media company that's like, because it's a news company, the Miles Media is a news company, and their stocks are going down because they're not breaking news, but technically they are. But another media company called Ferrera is also breaking news. Well, breaking their news, if you get what I mean. So Emily finds out that some of her stories are getting put on Ferrera's news, like in his newspaper. But it's her stories. Like the first one is like when she mistakenly said a neighbor's name wrong, like put a neighbor's name wrong, and then the person she was interviewing gave her the right name, but Ferrera's company had ran the paper with the typo or the misprint of the name. And so she's like, that's weird. So she asked the woman who she interviewed, hey, have you said this story to another person? And the woman was like, no, I only wanted Miles Media to know the story. So then she's like, okay, well, how did they get the story, especially with the typo? Because I made that name up. That's not a coincidence. I made that name up. Because she did. She made up the name because she was going to replace the name once the woman gave her his name. But her boss, her supervisor, asked for the story and she forgot that she hadn't changed the name. So then she goes to Jameson and tells him this, and he's like, hey, I'm going to need you to make a fake story and we'll see. So then she makes some fake stories, and all of the stories get published by Ferrera's media, but they're fake. So there is a mole, and they're trying to figure out the mole. So that's going on while this relationship is going on. And it's kind of funny. Like I thoroughly enjoyed this. It took me, I think, 4 or 5 days to read this. And it's mainly because I'm not going to be, like, I'm going to be for real. Like, I wasn't interested in the story. But as time went on, it got more interesting. But I realized it wasn't, like, groundbreakingly interesting for me. So I was, like, on a stop-start thing. Like, I finished Addicted. And I started Addicted way after I started this. And I finished Addicted in 1 day. So I'm still giving it a 4-star because I did enjoy it. The Steam was okay. Like, the Steam out of a 5, I would give the Steam like a 3. The drama, I give that a 4 because there's a whole bunch of drama going on, and I love that. There wasn't a lot of angst, but there was angst, so keep that in mind. But overall, I think it's a 4. I think it did what it had to do. I thoroughly enjoyed it once I got into it, but I got into it at like the 275 mark. But I can say that this book is over 500 pages. So, it meets our goal. And like I said, this is a series. So I'm thinking the next book, because it gives you a bonus chapter for the next book in the series. And then it gives you another bonus chapter for another series she does, which is the Mr. series. So it's Mr. Garcia. Mr. Masters is the one she is putting as a excerpt in this one. And so I'm thinking Takeover is Tristan's book, and Tristan is his brother. And I'm knowing that it's taking over because he is taking or trying to take over another media company. So, and he is falling in love with that media company's CEO or something like that. But like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was good enough where I actually finished it. And I'm probably gonna wait to read Takeover because of how weird this book was for me to finish. But again, I did like it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. And I do think that this is a good book. It was just, maybe I was going through something. But that is it for this review of this book. Oh my gosh. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I post a video almost every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, because I have too much content that I filmed. And if you would like to see what I'm reading, I posted it. I really do post it. So please like and wow. Words, Lauren. Slow down. Anyways, please like and subscribe so you can see more of my videos. And I do have a playlist for romances over 500 pages. They include actual contemporary romances, and then there's Achillean romances in there. So, if you like a long, thick book, you should check that playlist out. I'll link it above. Anyways, I will see you guys in my next video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, wherever you are. I am Lady Lauren Explorer. Bye.